Thank you for watching this video where we're going to talk about pricing your home for sale and show you what I do on the back end to give you some information. So we'll start with what is the definition. People ask me, what is my home worth? Well, technically the term and definition for that is a home is only worth what your buyer is willing to pay for it at a given time. Now if they're financing it, the lender also has their opinion of what the home is worth with the appraisal as well. So we're going to go over that as well. So we'll start with some of the factors. So when you're selling your house, there's only two factors that an owner can change. The first is the condition. You know, this is such thing as updates to the house, windows, roof, how it's painted, things like that. This is going to play an important role on the buyer's first impression of the house and ultimately if they make an offer, coupled with what price. So the whole point of this video. So we're going to talk about both those items. Some factors involved in pricing that you don't have any control over is the location. It's very expensive to pick up your house and move it, so the location is fixed, as well as your competition that's in the marketplace that you're in. Some of the homes, other homes for sale in the neighborhood that may be the same home as yours, layout and things like that, and the overall market. This could include the mortgage interest rates, job market, the economy as a whole. So those things influence your pricing. Now when you price your home, obviously the more below market value you are, the more buyers you're going to attract because it's going to be more of a deal. And the more above market value that you price your home, the less buyers you're going to attract because they're going to see it as overpriced. In this market we're in now, you need to price as close to market value as you can or a little bit below market value to attract the maximum number of buyers. And we'll kind of explain that a little bit in the following slides. One of the downfalls to overpricing is most all buyers are going to look at all the homes on the market. So say you have two homes, your home and another home in the subdivision, and they're exactly the same, and the other one is $10,000 cheaper. Now essentially when you're overpriced, you're just helping that other home sell quicker. So you know, buyers are going to look at more than one home, and they're probably going to choose the cheapest one to start off with to make the offer if they're both similar features. Now, things have changed a little bit over the years. We've had difficulty selling houses through the foreclosure market because we're competing against all the foreclosures. You know, 70% of the problems was getting an offer on your house, and then the loan programs and everything were fairly lax, so that was 20% of the deal, and then closing was 10%. In the market now, the foreclosures have kind of dried up. So there's a little bit of shortage of homes out there. Getting an offer can be somewhat simple depending on your house. The main point that we have now where deals are falling apart is the appraisal and underwriting, because the loans have gotten so strict that a lot of deals are falling apart in this stage. So that's really the red light. So before, it was, you know, just getting an offer because you're all your competition, and now due to all the strict loan criteria and everything, it's actually processing the loan and make sure it goes through. This is where following up with the offers once they're being processed is very important. So let's talk about appraisals. Before, a lender could just go ahead, order the appraisal directly from the appraiser. Now they don't want any contact between the lender and the appraiser. So the lender has to go to what's called an appraisal management company. And then from there, this company communicates with the appraiser and orders the appraisal from there. They don't want anybody talking between, they don't want any communication here. Now, what an appraiser is going to do is, you know, they have a whole list of criteria from the bank. But the most important is they're going to find like-kind properties within your area, similar age, square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, basement, garage, those sort of things. It's going to have the same city, school district. The only time when they will vary from these criteria is if they cannot find any comparable properties in the similar area. and depends on what the lender requires. Most often they're going to look at comparable sales within the last 90 days and 180 days. Now, I do work with a few lenders that are extending to 1 year, which helps, especially if you don't have a lot of sales in the area. So we're going to go through an example right now on pricing a home. This is pretty much how I do just to get started. And so I go onto the MLS system. I just click the sold button and put in last year 365 days, make sure they're all sales. In this case, I'm going to comp out a similar property, the subject property here. So four bed, 2 bath. You know, this one is 2,500 square feet, so I'm going to do a range between 2,000 and 3,000 and have a similar garage and a basement, because in this area it is very particular on that. Now, school district I usually don't worry about until after I pull up a preliminary, as well as area and city I don't worry about, because on the following screen it pulls up all the sold properties in the area. So once I see that, subject property we're talking about is right here in this neighborhood, so we're going to go ahead and draw a box around here, and bam, this narrows those down. So those are the subject properties. An appraiser most likely is not going to cross over a major road like these, and in this area a square mile usually has a major road on each side, so most likely he's not going to cross over those major roads, because they've got comparables in these 2 neighborhoods that they can use that are similar properties. Now we'll evaluate that list of properties, and we'll go ahead and go through these individually. You can see the current prices of these, so they're varying from $360 to $473. You know, and the square footages range as well. Now this is kind of a you know, what do we got, a handful of properties here. This is a good starting spot, because you have several sales within the last year, so you have a lot of strong sales in here. So from there we'll just go ahead and click on the properties individually and go through them, look at the pictures, see how they compare. You may see this is more of a yellow colored paint in here. You can kind of tell how updated the kitchen is by looking at that. Looks like it has a dark granite in it, and you got to go through each picture individually and see kind of how well it compares. And this is where my experience comes in. Sometimes just looking at the photos I can tell what kind of layout it has, you know, some things that the average consumer may not be able to figure out, and then based on my experience, you know, kind of give a plus or a minus to each property to determine your valuation. So from there, once you determine the pricing for your house and you put it on the market, it's real important to keep an eye on your showing activity. In the past, you know, the activity you would see, like this chart shows here, it would really go up and then drop off in a matter of weeks. Now it's really shortened with all the internet websites and everything out there. People are really getting out there quicker. So instead of weeks, we usually say now that it's usually within days. So usually within the first week, this graph is going to show you exactly what's going on. So you should really be hitting your peak here in about 7 to 8 days here. And if it starts leveling off after that, you need to look at your showing activity, see if there's any comments or what people's commenting on the property, and see if you need to make any adjustments. What you don't want to happen is be in this period here where a buyer is going to think your property's getting stale, and then they're going to start wondering, you know, what the heck's wrong with this property? Why doesn't no one else want it? Do I really want it? Okay, and one of the key factors here too that I do when I sell houses is, you know, I make sure to follow up on the property. So, you know, if you price competitive from the beginning, you're gonna get maximum exposure, maximum showings. You're going to have minimal appraisal issues. It's kind of the best of both worlds, and hopefully you have multiple offers, so that'll help you decide between one offer and the other. You're not just looking for the highest offer, you're looking for the best offer also, you know, following up and see if those people are really qualified. I actually have checklists once you get into that closing process, where I said that a lot of deals are falling apart this day and age for agents. I have a 100% closure rate because I have those checklists and I follow up with the lender, make sure everything is getting done properly. I practice damage prevention instead of damage control because I like to be proactive in my deals. And throughout the sales process, I'm going to be following up with my sellers weekly and give them a summary of how the showings went throughout the week, so you know whether or not you need to change something with the house or on the price of your home. Now, I made these videos just to keep you informed. I recommend you set up a meeting with me so we can have a little back and forth conversation. I'll be putting more videos up. Please subscribe, and as always, feel free to set up a meeting with me. Free consultation. It's never too early to start planning your move, and I thank you for watching.